Every year since the September 11th attacks, Frederick County has hosted a ceremony along with the city of Frederick and Fort Detrick to keep alive the memory of what happened that tragic day in 2001. We remember both the tragic events and the inspirational stories. This year, while we cannot safely gather face-to-face, we offer this video ceremony to keep the tradition alive in our Frederick County community. Joining me today are City of Frederick Mayor Michael O'Connor and Brigadier General Michael Talley, Commanding General of the U.S. Army Medical Research and Development Command and Fort Detrick. We begin by enjoying the beautiful voice of Miss Angela Spencer.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Today, we pause to remember that fateful day 19 years ago when our nation was changed forever. It was a bright, beautiful, clear fall morning. People were settling in at work or at school. They didn't know what was just about to happen. At 8:46 in the morning, the first airplane ripped into the World Trade Center in New York City, setting off a chain of events that would shake Americans to our very core. When I look back at what followed, I see a nation that stood united. We came together to help one another, ordinary people acting in extraordinary ways. Take, for example, the story of Betty Ong, a flight attendant that morning for American Airlines. When she woke up that Tuesday morning, she expected to be greeting passengers and serving coffee to them. Instead, she spent the last 25 minutes of her life informing the ground crew of the attack as it unfolded. There was no fear in Betty's voice. She was calm and professional, a woman on a mission. Visitors to the 9/11 Memorial in New York can listen to a recording of Betty's call during the attack, a testament to the bravery that she and so many other Americans displayed that day. September 11th is a day to honor Betty and the 2,982 other men, women, and children who died during the attacks at the World Trade Center, at the Pentagon, and aboard Flight 93. We recognize the fearless actions of our first responders, our police and our firefighters, who even now, nearly 2 decades later, continue to battle physical and mental effects from their work that day. We look back with gratitude for their heroic actions and for the actions of so many other people who rose to the challenge. Let us also remember the members of our own community who died that day. Alan Linton Jr. and Michael Carlo, who died in New York City, and William Ruth and Lieutenant Commander Ronald Volk at the Pentagon. On this somber occasion, take heart in remembering that in the midst of devastation and shock, Americans of all colors, faiths, and backgrounds stood united that day to take care of one another. God bless America.
As we remember September 11th and recognize Patriot Day in our community, it is hard to believe on that somber day 19 years ago, we lost nearly 3,000 lives. With those lost, it is still easy to be angry about the events that rocked our nation that day, and for many, their losses will last with them forever. Yet as I remember the men and women who lost their lives as a result of those attacks, this year I am also reminded of the lessons we learned after the horrific events, especially one, the importance of community. After September 11, 2001, communities near and far came together in unpredictable ways. The immediate selflessness of our first responders and members of the armed forces, checking in on family, checking in on neighbors, asking where one could help. After 9/11, we understood and respected the roles our fellow citizens played in various professions to keep us safe. We understood that it takes work to ensure the hope and freedom of a nation. This lesson from 9/11 reminds us that together we can rise to face the fears and injustices endangering the life, health, and safety of our community. And 2020 has indeed called for the manifestation of that lesson. So as we honor the bravery and courage of our civilian first responders and emergency personnel, who gave their all to save others for their selflessness, compassion, and courageous actions, which strengthened our nation's unity, focus, and resolve. And as we remember the men and women of our armed forces who made the ultimate sacrifice in defense of our freedom and security, and give thanks for those brave members of our armed forces who continue the fight abroad to protect freedom and democracy here at home, I ask you all to join with me in remembering the sacrifices made and acknowledging our role in building community to ensure those freedoms continue.
Hello, I'm Brigadier General Mike Talley, Commanding General of the United States Army Medical Research and Development Command in Fort Detrick. I am honored to be part of today's program as we remember the somber events that transpired on September 11th, 2001. 19 years ago today, those living on the East Coast were greeted by the sunny skies that are characteristic of the late summer in this region. The New York City subways were bustling as commuters made their way into the city. Airline passengers were settling into early morning flights, and employees at the Pentagon were hard at work. Then, in an instant, everything changed. As news broadcasts began covering the collapse of the Twin Towers, hundreds of first responders sprang into action. Their actions saved many in New York City alone, but thousands there and across the nation perished in this deadly attack on American soil. As flags fly at half-staff today, we remember these souls. May they never be forgotten. In the immediate aftermath of this tragedy, our country came together and we became stronger. And since 9/11, our national security and national military strategies have been invigorated. In addition to our armed forces' continual presence on foreign soil, our troops also stand ready to protect and defend our nation from threats to our freedom at home. As we spend today remembering the victims of 9/11, we can see some similarities between that day and the challenges we are facing caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. This virus has tragically claimed lives, and first responders and medical workers are making great sacrifices in the name of health and safety, some losing their own lives in the end. At the U.S. Army Medical Research and Development Command, we are leading efforts to detect, treat, and prevent COVID-19. We are committed to using our research capabilities and our global research network to support the whole of government response to the virus. Locally, our Fort Detrick Fire Department and police are collaborating with city and county officials on pandemic response for the community and for workforce protection. we will continue to use our assets to take on today's challenges, as well as those we will face in the future. Patriot Day reminds us that life can change in an instant, yet it's these times that can strengthen our resolve. As we honor the memory of those lost on September 11, 2001, we also recall the spirit and renewed sense of patriotism that rose out of those harrowing moments. It's this spirit that is alive in our service members, our first responders, and Americans across the country, and it's this spirit that connects us as a community. Thank you for your support of Fort Detrick, our service members, and our nation.
I'll close today's ceremony by reading a proclamation. Whereas Patriot Day was created in 2001 by a joint resolution of Congress and signed into law by President George W. Bush, proclaiming that state and local governments and the people of the United States should observe this day with appropriate programs and activities. We therefore dedicate today's September 11th tribute to those individuals who lost their lives as a result of terrorist attacks against the United States on September 11th, 2001. We display the flag of the United States at half-staff in their honor. And whereas the citizens of Frederick County are called upon to observe a moment of silence on Patriots Day in honor of the individuals who lost their lives as a result of the attacks on September 11th, 2001. And whereas we also remember the emergency responders who answered the call of duty and were taken from us on that fateful day, we recognize that many of our first responders continue to suffer the consequences of that day to this present time. We further extend our appreciation to all those who continue to selflessly serve the public to ensure our safety and a bright future for our county. So now, therefore, as the County Executive of Frederick County, Maryland, I do hereby proclaim September 11, 2020 as Patriots Day and commend this observance to all of our citizens. And it's signed by me, the County Executive of Frederick County, Maryland, Jan H. Gardner, and it's presented this 11th day of September, 2020.